testing, testing, testing. Testing, 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 testing. Testing, 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 testing. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Marcus speaks. Marcus speaks. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of Marcus Speaks. Um, quick, quick, uh, quick announcement. There's a severe thunderstorm in my area, and it's no telling if my power might go out. So, you know, if something happens, then I don't know what to tell you. I might come back on, or I might just do all this tomorrow, maybe. All depends, because the power did go out once, and I don't know. If everything's fine, then I'll go right ahead. If not, then I have no clue what the hell I'm gonna do. So anyway, let's get to today's show. But before we do that, I have a few things to say, uh, such as welcome to the show, everybody. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe if you are new here. Hit that bell icon, and make sure you hit it to all so you get all my notifications once I go live. And please do yourself a favor, write something in the live chat. I am paying attention to it. Excuse me. So, um, you know, things happen most of the time. So, you know, I gotta switch some things up real fast. Give me a second. Um, but yeah, if you guys are tuning into today's show, I thank y'all for being here. Um, so, you know, um, I don't mean to do this right when we're starting. Some things I didn't do before I got up here, but power went out. So okay, done. All right, people. Um, every Friday I do this here podcast, Marcus Speaks Live. Also, I will be doing Marcus Speaks Play every Saturday. 6:30 p.m. is not yet set in stone, but when whenever I figure something out, I'll, I'll come up with something. But at this time, I have no clue when any of this stuff is coming on because I still have to fix it. It still isn't sounding right to my expertise. So, but please do me this here favor. Whenever I go live, come and check me out. I always got some good stuff going on. I'm sorry. If you would like to come up here and talk to me, you can. With that being said, the way you can do that is if you hit that link that's sitting there pinned in the chat. Also, if you want to come up here, you can by either hitting that link and coming here to the backstage. Sorry, y'all, I got like a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. Or you can call me at the call-in number that I do not have up. You can call me at the call-in number, which is 302-283-9791. I repeat, 302-283-9791. All right, so when you do that, there are rules that come with this. So you do have to be on camera at all times when you hit that link. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. If I see you back here with our black or blank screen, I'm just going to boot you. Like, these rules are pretty easy to follow. Rule number 2, if you don't want to be on camera to the public, that is fine. You don't have to be on camera, but you still have to be on camera here on the backstage. Also, if you don't want to be, well, either way, either or, if you do or don't want to be on camera, there's a question back here that I would like for you to answer. Once you answer that question, that helps me further accommodate you of what you want to do, all right? But if you call it a number, that's fine. I'll just answer it, all right? And last and final rule is please mute all background noise. Try to run at least a semi-professional show here, and I can't do that with, foolishness going on in the background. So, the only thing I have left for you guys is, if you like this video, subscribe if you're new here, hit that bell icon, and please like this video if you could, or you can just, share this, share my channel and have people just come on over. You know what I'm saying? Help me out. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a small channel. But with that being said, if you've ever watched my show, I like to play videos. I play these videos to help further along my point of what I'm going to be making while reading the articles that I will be presenting to you today. So each video corresponds with each article that I have for you guys tonight. With that being said, I have to follow what is called fair use. It's just not the law. It's also a YouTube policy and rules. So I have to follow both, simultaneously. If you guys don't know what fair use is, this is exactly what fair use is. Hello, everyone. I'm going to tell you about fair use. It's the law. Warning. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyright motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107. All right, y'all, that's fair use. So with today's show, let's turn that music off. Let's get our music back pumping. So peeps. With today's show, I have uh one one item two items of something that I want to get through before we get to the main show. This is our small banter portion. I will try to make this as quick as possible because I do want to get into the main topic as soon as possible. So, with our small banter portion tonight, oh yeah, I'm sorry. All videos and all articles are credited in the description box below. Also, this lower third is about to start over. Please read over that. That is for you. Okay. So, with today's show, what's going on is the Carlee Russell. So I covered Carlee Russell last week. I covered Carlee Russell, and it's just been a conundrum of a bunch of foolishness of what's going on. So, okay, so here's what's going on. So, as we all know, Carlee Russell went missing, or she faked being missing, to the point of her family, her boyfriend, and everybody in her community was worried, and people went searching for her. So, with that being said, these people went out and they, did what they could. Um, they did what they could because they feel as though that this girl should be saved. She should be brought home to her family. Okay. So we all found out that that was a crock of shit. We found out that Carlee lied. Carlee lied, and Carlee is basically a sack of shit. Well, that's a little too rough. But it sticks. Carlee basically became a sack of shit to us because she didn't think she didn't think that her search history was going to be brought into this. She didn't feel as though that her actions was being watched, and she also didn't feel as though that everything that she was doing uh, made her look in a way that, you know, to us it was like, this girl is in danger. She, she got captured, she got kidnapped or whatever. But then we find out that she's making searches online about how old do you have to be for an Amber Alert to go out. The movie Taken, which they said was her favorite movie, which is weird. I don't know why the movie Taken would be anybody's favorite movie. And also, what else did she look up? She looked up the movie Taken. Oh, a bus ticket to Nashville. Okay, so She didn't make it to Nashville because she was in Hoover, Alabama the entire time, or if not, a neighboring town or county. So the night of, she said that she called 911. She said that she saw a baby on the side of the highway walking, so she stopped for the baby. There was no baby. Then she faked being kidnapped. There was no kidnapper. Description that she gave of the kidnapper was a guy with orange hair, wearing a white t-shirt and jeans. There was nobody. So with that, you also get her elaborate story that she told of her basically stating to us that what she her elaborate story was the guy took her and she got into a car and she got into another car just to get into the back of an 18 wheel. All that was a lie. So 49 hours later, she comes home, but from what neighbors' ring cameras got was her flailing her arms while running down the street. So she got home, and then her parents, was their anxiety subsided. Oh my gosh, Carlee's home. We're so happy. Blah 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 blah. And then there was a press conference and basically stating that she possibly could face charges. Well, here's another press conference of an update of Carlee Russell and what her attorneys have updated with everything. So this is a press conference for Carlee by I think it's the Hoover Police Department, and this was the first update or the second update that they gave us. So here we go.
Thanks to everyone for attending again today. I want to thank the members of our department and all of law enforcement who played a role in the investigation of this case. Last Wednesday, July 19th, we held a press conference and provided you with the facts of the Carlee Russell disappearance. We told you the investigation was ongoing. We helped you determine where Carlee was during the 49 hours of her disappearance. Today I've talked to and received a statement from Mr. Emery Anthony, attorney for Carlee Russell. Mr. Anthony has scheduled a meeting for Carlee to meet with investigators early this afternoon, but then I received an email.
Okay, so before he continues, so basically this update is Carlee's apology. Why did she apologize? Well, number one, she used resources. They brought in the FBI to help them and aid them in rescuing Carlee. Not only that, Crime Stoppers put out a $65,000 reward if you found Carlee. Now, she was using precious resources that could have been gone elsewhere. We're talking police. We're talking local police. We're talking sheriff's departments. We're talking possibly state police and also the FBI. So not only was this on a federal, not only was this on a local level, also was on a federal level. So since this was on a local and federal level, of which they were trying hard to find this young girl, this 26-year-old girl. Come to find out, she lied about it the whole entire time. She's now giving an update of an apology by way of her attorney. Some people may ask, well, why does she have an attorney? You would get an attorney too if you did the dumb shit that she did. But let's continue this. Let's continue the press conference of basically them updating, basically saying that there was no kidnapping at all.
Stating that a statement was being provided by him on her behalf. Mr. Anthony asked that I read the statement entirely, which I will do now. My client has given me permission to make the following statement on her behalf. There was no kidnapping on Thursday, July 13th, 2023. My client did not see a baby on the side of the road. My client did not leave the Hoover area when she was identified as a missing person. My client did not have any help in this incident, but this was a single act done by herself. My client was not with anyone or any hotel with anyone from the time she was missing. My client apologizes for her actions to this community, the volunteers who were searching for her, to the Hoover Police Department and other agencies as well, as to her friends and family. We ask for your prayers for Carlee as she addresses her issues and attempts to move forward, understanding that she made a mistake in this matter. Carlee, again, ask for your forgiveness and prayers. We have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Anthony to further discuss this case. We're currently in discussions with the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office in Bessemer about possible criminal charges related to this case, and we will announce those charges when and if they are filed.
All right, with that, we'll take a few questions.
All right, so there were charges that was brought on Carlee Russell. I need to get my place exactly where it is. 1 second. So here is the charges that was filed against her because she turned herself in today. She turned herself in, and there is a mugshot of Miss Carlee Russell. And you guys might ask yourself, well, what does the mugshot look like? Well, this is exactly what the mugshot looks like. Why are you smiling? Of all things, you're smiling in a mugshot? How deranged do you have to be? Now, I understand exactly why she smiled. You know why? Because she did all of this. She did all of this, and she's feeling as though that she can let everything go now because she did what she had to do in her part in all of this. To her, this ain't from what I'm seeing. To her, I I did everything that I had to do. I told my story the way I wanted to tell my story, and this is how it ends, with a criminal smile. We should say. Come on now, Carlee. You know better sitting there smiling in this damn mugshot. Now, some of y'all are asking yourselves right now, she didn't really smile in this mugshot. Yes, this is her official mugshot after she turned herself in. Now, I don't know if this is a nervous smile, like as if she doesn't know what she did, or if this is a smile of gratitude that she's given herself. Who knows? But let's see exactly what these charges are. There's 2 charges Let's see what these charges are.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Frank and Pam Bearfield Training Center. I'm Captain Keith Sescaliba with the Hoover Police Department, and we're here today to provide you with the latest update in the Carlee Russell investigation. Joining me at the podium today will be Police Chief Nick Durzis, followed by Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall. Chief Durzis will make a prepared statement. After Chief Durzis' statement is over with, Attorney General Marshall will also offer a few comments. Once that is completed, both gentlemen will return to the podium and you guys have an opportunity to ask questions. With that, I will turn it over to Chief Durzis.
Thank you, Captain. Good afternoon. Earlier today, Hoover Police detectives obtained warrants for the arrest of Carlee Russell through the Hoover Municipal Court for her actions related to faking her kidnapping and subsequently making false statements to detectives as they investigated this case. Her decisions that night created panic and alarm for the citizens of our city and even across the nation as the concern grew that a kidnapper was on the loose using a small child as bait. Numerous law enforcement agencies, both local and federal, began working tirelessly not only to bring Carlee home to her family, but locate a kidnapper that we know now never existed. Many private citizens volunteered their time and energy into looking for a potential kidnapping victim that we know now was never in any danger. This story opened wounds for families whose loved ones really were victims of kidnappings, some of which even helped organize searches in hopes they could find Carlee's alive so her family would not experience the pain and suffering that they felt when their loved ones never returned home. As we know, actions can have consequences, and that's why we're here today. This afternoon, Carlee Russell, with the assistance of her attorney, turned herself into the Hoover City Jail, where she was arrested for the following charges: false reporting to law enforcement authorities, Class A misdemeanor, $1,000 bond; falsely report an incident, a Class A misdemeanor with a $1,000 bond. Each of these charges carry up to a year in jail and potential fine of $6,000 upon conviction. Ms. Russell was released from jail after posting bond. We initially presented this case to District Attorney Lanice Washington, who agreed to handle prosecution through district court. After consulting with the Circuit Court of Jefferson County, Bessemer Division, the case was referred back to municipal court for charging because the only applicable charges were misdemeanors. Judging from the amount of phone calls and emails that we've received from people all over the country, I know many are shocked and appalled that Ms. Russell is only being charged with 2 misdemeanors, despite all the panic and disruption her actions caused. Let me assure you, I too share the same frustration, but existing laws only allow the charges that were filed to be filed. I can tell you that I will be contacting our state legislatures on behalf of law enforcement in Montgomery and asking them to look at this law applied to these facts and urge them to add an enhancement to current legislation when somebody falsely reports kidnapping or another violent crime. Because of the attention this case has garnered, we've requested Attorney General Steve Marshall's office adopt this case, and they've agreed to do so. The Hoover Police Department wants to thank everyone that assisted us from the beginning and continues to assist us in this case as we work its way through the criminal justice system. Joining me at the podium today is State of Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall.
Thank you, Chief. Let me begin by commending Hoover Police Department Chief Durzis for his leadership in this investigation. Obviously, this captured many's attention as a result of not only the allegations themselves, but also the concern about a possible victim and being able to return her home. The work that was done by the Hoover Police Department was monumental in its lift, and the results of that work,
that were filed to be filed. I can tell you that I will be contacting our. As we know, actions can have consequences, and that's why we're here today. This afternoon, Carlee Russell, with the assistance of her attorney, turned herself into the Hoover City Jail, where she was arrested for the following charges: false reporting to law enforcement authorities, Class A misdemeanor, $1,000 bond; falsely report an incident, a Class A misdemeanor with a $1,000 bond.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, because I was sitting over here because I had forgot to bring up one of my windows that I was going to be using for the next topic. But This is exactly what's going on. She's facing 2 charges of I forgot the ones that they read off, but basically they're both 2 Class A misdemeanors that she did, and they both hold $1,000 bond. I'm pretty sure she'll bond out what she did today. I think altogether, he said after that, um, it will hold a $6,000 bond. So basically, her, you know, her parents are pretty well off. So, I'm pretty sure they made that payment, got her out. She'll be facing a court date, and the court date probably will be sometime later this year, sometime maybe. And what we can say as of right now is this is basically disgusting because her okay, it's disgusting because her family, I'm sorry, not her family, Carlee did this intentionally. We still don't know the motive of any of this. We don't know the motive. From what we know and what we've been speculating, it's because of a boy. And we don't know if it was because of her ex-boyfriend now. The story goes that her ex-boyfriend was fucking a stripper or something like that. So I guess to get him back, she goes to act as if she got kidnapped. It makes no sense whatsoever. So her boyfriend, which has garnered a lot of attention by the ladies. Okay, I don't know how to say his name. I don't know if it's Tomar or Thomar. I think it's Tomar because Thomar sounds stupid. So Tamar, basically broke up with her in a Twitter post or Instagram post or something like that, and he basically wants nothing to do with her because he was online basically saying, she's fighting for her life. Please say her name, pray for her, blah, 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 blah. And then when she shows back up and he finds out that all of it's a lie, he's like, nah, fuck all that, dog. Like, I bent over backwards for your ass for this. And this is the thanks I get. Excuse me. This is the thanks I get out of all of it. You're just going to sit here and act as if nothing happened. You was gone for 48 hours. 2 days. You was gone. And there's nothing that you have to say about any of this. So he washed his hands of her. And this is exactly what's going on right here.
Carlee Russell's ex is speaking out after she admits her disappearance was a hoax. In a July 25th Instagram statement, Tamar Latrell Simmons writes,
So he says Carlee's actions created hurt, confusion, and dishonesty. I was made aware of the false narrative after coming to the defense of my ex, Carlee Russell. Myself and my family's nature was not to react in love. Was to react in love, and genuine concern. We are disgusted from the outcome of this entire situation. This boy must have went to college. I strongly feel exactly like you all, blindsided with Carlee's actions. This is still an ongoing investigation, but with all of the recent information and her confession, now we gain closure. with this situation. Thank you to all my family, friends, and the nation for supporting. Let's see what else it says. Sorry.
It's made aware of the fall.
Okay, let's go back. Let's see. To my blah blah blah. For support. I can't read that. Blank this. I want to also send my prayers and thanks to somebody. And
I was made aware of the false narrative after coming to the defense of my ex, Carlee Russell. Myself and my family's nature was to react in love and genuine concern. We are disgusted from the outcome of this entire situation. I strongly feel exactly like you all, blindsided with Carlee's actions. He continues, this is still an ongoing investigation, but with all the recent information and her confession now, we gain closure with this situation. His statement comes after he previously came to Carlee's defense, issuing a plea to the public to stop cyberbullying her after she had returned safely home. Tamar told the New York Post on July 22nd, "The only thing I can say is I want everyone to stop bullying her," adding, "I know what it seems like what she did. Just stop bullying on social media." His new comments come one day after Carlee admitted via her lawyer that her kidnapping was a hoax. The police chief of Hoover, Alabama, Nick Dirtzes, previously shared that update with the public at a July 24th press conference.
Okay, that was earlier this week. But was it earlier this week? What's today? The 28th. So yeah. It was earlier this week. And today, charges got brought down, which was the video I just showed of them bringing out the charges, both $1,000 connected to it on bond. It was for filing a false police report, and I forgot the second charge. But altogether, I think with resources being used and all that, it all comes to $6,000, which I believe she bonded out, and she's just awaiting trial at this point. So her ex-boyfriend basically broke up with her because he was made a fool of from Carlee, and Carlee is now probably about to do some jail time, possibly, because and Ty says I think she was crying out for help. I don't think it was a cry for help though, Ty. I feel as though that the narrative of what all the bloggers were saying, it was, because her boyfriend, I guess, cheated on her with a stripper or something like that, that she did all of this. I believe that narrative because she's probably not wrapped too tight upstairs, so it's like she probably thought that this was a good idea to get back at him so he can worry about her, because she probably felt as though since he cheated on me, he probably doesn't care much about me like that. So let me see how much he cares about me. And she does that bullshit. She fakes a disappearance. Like, who the hell does that? Just move on. If you feel as though that the boy doesn't like you anymore, just move on. But anyway, let's continue this video, and then I have one more
on Thursday.
I have one more video, and I don't even think the rest of this is even necessary to even look at. Let's fast forward to this.
Following her 911 call about seeing a child on the interstate on July 13th. However, the Hoover police chief said at the time that authorities had received no other calls about a small child on the interstate. Investigators also detailed a number of searches discovered in Carlee's recent internet history.
You have to pay for an Amber Alert was searched. On July 13th at 1:03 a.m., the day of her disappearance, the term, how to take money from a register without being caught.
All right, we know the story of what she did. This is troubling. I hope I hope she doesn't go to jail, but I do hope that they give her like like I hope that they sentence her to like getting like some mental help. You know what I'm saying? Like she needs some help because like to and I agree with you, Ty. It was a sad affair. Like nobody thinks of doing that. Like nobody thinks of saying, you know what? I'm basically going to act as if I got kidnapped, and with that, I'm gonna make all of my family and friends worry, my boyfriend worry of my disappearance because I'm a sad sack of shit, and you know, like it's a bunch of bullshit. What you say, yo, Marcus? Did you hear about Mad Cobra, the Jamaican artist who made Flex, got arrested with 2 bricks of yayo in South Carolina? What are your thoughts on that? I don't have any, to be honest. If he had cocaine on him, then he had cocaine on him. Like, you face the consequences when you have illegal substances on you or whatever. Like, I don't know what to say about that, but that's not what today's show is about. So, get my damn green screen right. So basically, um, with this to end this whole Carlee thing, um, I hope she gets the help that she deserves because she needs it. Because this isn't a way that you act. This isn't the way a 26-year-old young lady should be acting. Acting out at that at 26, if you're still acting out in your late 20s, then you haven't grown up yet, and you need some growing to do. So, with that, uh, let's go on to the next part of this small banter. And uh, last Friday, a Netflix movie premiered called They Clone Tyrone. One of the head actors on that, or one of the leading roles, was played by Jamie Foxx. And Jamie Foxx made his appearance the Thursday before, giving an update of everything that was going on with him without even saying, you know, what his medical issue was. So here's that video.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that's prayed, man, and sent me messages. I cannot even begin to tell you um, how far it took me and how it brought me back. Um, I went through something that I thought I would never ever go through. And I know a lot of people were waiting, you know, or wanting to hear updates. But to be honest with you, I just didn't want you to see me like that, man. You know, I want you to see me laughing, having a good time, partying, cracking a joke, doing a movie, television show. I didn't want you to see me with tubes running out of me and trying to figure out if I was gonna make it through. And to be honest with you, my sister Deidre Dixon, my daughter Corinne Marie saved my life. So to them, to God, to a lot of great medical people, I'm able to leave you this video. I cannot tell you how great it feels to have your family kick in such a way. And y'all know they kept it airtight. They didn't let nothing out. They protected me. And that's what I hope that everyone could have in moments like these. Now, by being quiet, sometimes things, get out of hand. People saying what I got. Some people said I was blind, but as you can see, the eyes are working. Eyes are working just fine. Said I was paralyzed. I'm not paralyzed. But I did go through. I went to hell and back, and my road to recovery had some potholes as well. But I'm coming back, and I'm able to work. So I want to thank the people that let me work, and I just want to say that I love everybody, and I love all of the love that I got. And man, I know they talk about people crying on videos. You can do take two, but I'm not gonna do a take two. It is what it is. And if you see me out from now on, and every once in a while I just burst into tears, is because it's been tough, man. I was sick, man, but now I got my legs out, under me, so you're gonna see me out. But like I said, I just want you to remember me for the jokes that I crack. The movies that I make, some of them good, some of them ain't. I think I got a good one out. And the songs that I sing, man. And then, some people were talking about I'm clone. Well, check this out. Just kidding. Not clone, man, but I'm here on earth because of some great people. I'm here on earth because of God, man. So I love all y'all. I just want to jump on here and let you know that I'm on my way back in love.
All right. So, Jamie comes out. He made his update. He basically told, his fans that, hey, I'm fine. I'm cool. Everything's straight. But to your question, Ty, did he lose weight? Some people. Now, he was laid up for months. So it's a possibility, he was in the hospital for however long he was in the hospital. Then he came home, on bed rest. So it's a possibility that he could have lost weight in that time frame because, it's been since like April, May that we heard about this information of him, almost kicking the bucket. But it was funny that he brought up. Let me get to the part.
Clone. Well, check this out.
Now it's funny that he brought that up because that set the conspiracy theorists in a frenzy. They basically was like, why would he joke about being cloned? He's in a movie called They Clone Tyrone. His character in the movie is a clone. So why is he joking about that? That's not the real Jamie Foxx. That's what the conspiracy theorists were saying. Now we don't know. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, he's more lighter in that video than what he is." Let's say this picture that I'm about to show, right? So a lot of people saying he's lighter. Now it could be the camera, it could be the room that he's in, with the lighting. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, plus he was in the house for however long he was in the house. That could play, a big deal of, why his skin got lighter. It's so many possibilities with this. And, we should be happy that Jamie's fine, that, he's healthy again, he can get back working, making us laugh again. And that's what we should be worried about. We shouldn't be worried about, well, is he cloned? Is he not cloned? I don't think it really matters, to be honest. And it shouldn't matter, to be honest, because, it makes no sense because to speculate what what went on with him, okay, do it. But at the same time, it's like the man sitting there right in front of your face telling you that he's fine. Now, let's get back to the conspiracy theory community. They believe that he got cloned, and that was the clone talking to us. And it's like, if he was cloned, where's the factory at that they make these celebrity clones at? And number two, how much did it cost to make a Jamie Foxx clone? Like, come on now, like quit the bullshit. And Ty says he is lighter because he was out of the sun if he was inside. Exactly what I just said, Ty. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Now, look, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a certain degree. Like, that's the reason why I tuned into these conspiracy theorists to see what they had to say when it came to Jamie Foxx's arrival back on, small screen, you should say. And it's like, he's fine, he's healthy. We should be happy for him. And I am. I'm happy to see him back and kicking and, whatever movie he was working on when he went through his ordeal. I hope that he recovers. I hope that he gets to finish that movie. And I hope that Jamie gets to, continue doing what he loves, making people laugh and making people feel good. Now, that completes the small banter portion of today. It went a little long, but I just want to say, let's get to Ron DeSantis. So, if you don't know what's going on with Ron DeSantis is running he's one of the Republican candidates. I think he's one of the front runners in the Republican presidential candidacy. So, over the past week, some information has came out about Ron DeSantis and Florida's new Black History bill. And what you say, Ty? By the way, the movie they cloned Tyrone sucked. I actually liked it, to be honest. Anyway, so last week, Ron DeSantis had a press conference talking about the new Black History curriculum that will be taught in Florida. But in the actual document, it states some outlandish shit that a lot of not just black senators, Republican and Democrat alike, but black activists and just black people in all around the country are scratching our heads like, why is the wording like that? Let's take a further look with this video I'm about to play, that, and we'll deep dive with the article that I have of what's going on with this new curriculum. Let's go.
Controversy over Florida's new education standards is intensifying after Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill called the Stop Woke Act last year. The changes include teaching middle schoolers that some enslaved people actually benefited from slavery because it taught them skills. Nancy Cordes is following this at the White House. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Wendy. You know, this debate may have started in Florida, but it has now landed squarely in the middle of the presidential race.
I didn't do it, and I wasn't involved in it.
Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis tried to distance himself from the curriculum controversy, but it didn't work.
I didn't do it, and I'm not involved in it, are not the words of leadership.
Florida's new...
1 second, y'all. I did say there is a severe thunderstorm going on right now in my area, so if this cuts out, I don't know if, when this cuts out, I'll be able to come back, but it will be a while when I do come back. So Let's just cross our fingers that does not happen. But let's continue.
History teaching guidelines approved last week stemmed from a 2022 law Governor DeSantis called the Stop Woke Act.
Governor DeSantis started this fire with the bill that he signed.
The new standards say Florida students should be taught about the harsh conditions slaves endured, but also about how slaves developed skills, which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit.
They're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed, being a blacksmith into doing things later in life.
That comment drew up.
Hold on. What the hell is wrong with him? That motherfucker said what? Let's replay that.
Parlayed, being some of the folks that eventually parlayed, being a blacksmith into doing things later in life.
Look at how this guy's looking, and look at how she's looking. They're like, the fuck? What the fuck he just said? But like, you can't blame Ron because he's ignorant. And oh, by the way, he will be the next Republican president if you say so. But yeah, it's. I don't know. I'm not here to make a political argument of who or who may not be president next, because I have no clue. All right, Ty. So I'm saying if you want to come up here later on and debate about that, I'll make a good debate with you about that. I'll debate with you about that. But as of right now, talking about Ron DeSantis, well, matter of fact, I'll do you one better. If you stay till the end and you want to have a debate about Ron DeSantis versus Trump's and who will be president next, we can have that debate if you want to. There's a call-in number, and there's also a link pinned in the live chat if you want to talk about that later, all right? So let's do that. All right, let's continue.
That comment drew a swift rebuke from fellow Republican presidential candidate Will Hurd, who tweeted, "Slavery wasn't a jobs program that taught beneficial skills. It was literally dehumanizing." NAACP President Derek Johnson.
We all must stand together as a nation to ensure we don't find ourselves going backwards, that we stand united as a country and not try to remake history.
Two of the authors of the guidelines say they proudly stand behind them and that they were, quote, developed using a methodical process within our work group. They want.
If you want to fight niggas, use niggas. If you want to piss off niggas, you use niggas to do it. Now, Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, they ain't have much to do after they got fired from their jobs. So they decided, hey, well, let's just move to Florida and let's hop on the education board for some reason and write some fuck shit when it comes to slavery. But, if they feel that way and they feel as though that what they're saying in the documentation is the correct history to tell, then they must be lost in a motherfucker. Dr. William B. Allen and Dr. Francis Presley Rice, aka Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima. But anyway, let's continue.
process within our work group.
They want to replace history with lies.
The nation's first Black and Asian American vice president traveled to Florida Friday to condemn the new standards in person.
I am deeply concerned. Because let's be clear, I do believe this is not only about the state of Florida. There is a national agenda afoot.
And the topic is likely to come up again when Vice President Harris addresses a Latino conference in Chicago today. As far as Governor DeSantis is concerned, he is defending the new standards, arguing that they are probably the most robust African-American history teaching standards in the country. Wendy?
Nancy, since this change took place, has there been any effect on the DeSantis campaign or his popularity?
I think it's too soon to say because this all sort of exploded at the end of last week. Certainly, he's getting a lot of unwanted attention from his fellow Republican presidential candidates. That's the kind of heat you never want to face. And for someone who has touted his executive credentials, who has said that he's making so much positive change in Florida, to then say that he doesn't know anything about this and he had nothing to do with it is definitely something that his Republican opponents are picking up on.
All right. So I have something to say to that. I believe his polls kind of dropped after that. For some reason, I believe they picked back up, but at the time when he said that, his poll dropped a little bit. So she is not African American, as we know. She is Jamaican and I think Indian from Far East. Yeah, she's Brahma Indian, and she's a quarter Jamaican because her father is half white. So, or I believe English. The English settled in Jamaica. So he's half white or whatever they would call themselves over in England. Caucasian, maybe. She's Caucasian, Jamaican, and Brahma Indian. But anyway, so I got this article from the New York Post, and I chopped the title up a little bit, but the real title is in the description box. So I put New Florida Black History curriculum says slavery had personal benefits. Okay, so a new curriculum for African American history approved by the Florida Board of Education includes a lesson that teaches slavery had personal benefits. The board unanimously approved the education program at a Wednesday meeting in Orlando after a tense, more than hour-long period of public comment. The Tallahassee Democrat reported the lessons argued teachers and activists who argue they omitted key facts about the oppression of Black Americans and the realities of slavery. While the goals for public middle school teachings include the history and evolution of slave codes, a proposed lesson also asks instructors to show students how slaves developed skills which, in some instances, could be applied for their benefit. This is, I believe, Ron DeSantis saying this. I'm very concerned. I'm sorry, this is, I guess, somebody who's concerned about the structuring of the curriculum. I'm very concerned by these standards, especially the notion that enslaved people benefited from being enslaved. So I have the document. All right? I have the document. Okay, where's the document? Okay. So it should be on the screen now.
Marcus.
Is it? No, it's not on the screen. All right, there it goes. So let me enlarge this. Bring it back so I can actually see it. Okay. So page 6. This is what it states. Examine the various duties and trades performed by slaves. This is in the analyze events that involved or affected Africans from the founding of the nation through Reconstruction, right? So examine the various duties and trades performed by slaves, e.g., agricultural work, painting, carpentry, tailoring, domestic services such as wet nurses and stuff like that, and maids and stuff like that, blacksmithing and transportation. All right. So one of the benchmarks, clarifications. This is number 1 in it, and it basically says instruction includes how slaves developed skills which, in some instances, could be applied for their personal benefit. Now, this is the exact part of which is making a lot of people go in a tizzy. I can understand why too, because it kind of sounds like revisionist history, and with that sounding as if they revised history in a way to make it sound as if slaves benefited from the skills of which they developed while being slaves. And it's like, you could look at it like that, but in a way you really can't, because it didn't benefit them in any sort of way or fashion while they were enslaved. Now, during Reconstruction, yes, because they're now making a way for themselves, not having to where whoever enslaves them is making as much money as possible. Because you gotta remember, slavery between what was it, 16 something? Yes, 16 something to somewhere around what was it, 1865? The Emancipation Proclamation was signed by Lincoln. So we're looking at 200 and some odd years. So for those 200 and some odd years, we also are looking at this. So for my people, because I am an ancestor, I'm not an ancestor, I have an ancestor that was enslaved in Lower Maryland. At the time it was called Denton, but now it's forgot what it's called now. No, the town is called Denton now. I forgot what it was called then. But there's a plaque or whatever on the plantation in I think like 4 or 5 years ago. My ancestor, along with a few other slaves that was on that plantation, was honored. So we're looking at this document, which you can find online. It's the full 216 pages of the new curriculum that is being pushed forth for the middle school, I believe maybe high school students to basically learn about Black history. So this is exactly, and it's probably more shit in here. I have yet to like dive deep into this document. I was thinking maybe next week, maybe sometime I might dive deep into this because I do feel as though that this needs a real good deep dive. So it's a lot that is in here, and you know, for them to basically tout it to make it sound as if, and let me highlight that right there, for their personal benefit. In what way? Because it was hard for a Black man after slavery to find a job. It was hard for a Black man to feed his family after, and we're talking after slavery. No more does the slave owner, of which that slave owner was given a stipend because of his lost product, basically, or his lost property, I should say. So with that being said, it's like, what personal benefit did it have for the average Black slave or ex-slave after slavery? It had to. This is why. Because to make a notion that for them learning the skills that they had benefited them in any sort of way or fashion is basically saying that if they weren't slaves, they wouldn't have learned those skills to begin with. Now, I don't have any knowledge of what Africans were doing while they were in Africa during, like, before slave times, but from findings from anthropologists and stuff like that, when they go over and they do their digs and stuff like that, well, they do find that they had technologies of some sort. They, wood carvings. Sometimes they find metal carvings and stuff like that. So it's like most of these skills were already passed down in a way. They know them in some way, shape, or form. It's just that once we were over here and enslaved and stolen from our homeland and stripped from our language, religion, and stuff like that, it's for them to put in this document and have it state that the instruction includes how slaves develop skills as if they developed these skills willingly. Like, no, this is what they had to do day in and day out. And there was no, I'm going to teach you something else. No, most of the time, that's what they did. So, develop skills which in some instances, now, for them to say in some instances is basically them not knowing at all. They're just speculating that in some instances they could have, it could have benefited them in a personal matter. How so? Like, what knowledge do you have of that? Like, what documentary did you see? What document did you read about that? What book did you read? By what author? Like, who's to say that any of the skills that any slave learned had a personal benefit at the end of the day. Because, like I said earlier, there's no, like, we don't know if it did personally benefit them in any sort of way. We don't know that information. Because if so, if they do have that information for us to go over with us of how they came up with this specific clarification in the SS68AA2 section of this document, of analyze events that have involved or affected Africans from the founding of the nation through Reconstruction. Now, if they're placing Reconstruction as a focus point in that part of the curriculum, and them to have the teachers teach, well, if you did have an African slave ancestor that was a tailor, then it was a possibility that once he got out of slavery, he could start up his own tailoring business. But for who? Black folk? Because you gotta remember, black folks created these little towns. You got Tulsa, Oklahoma. You have Rosewood, Florida. You have there's a few in there that I'm thinking about. Give me a minute. Those are only two I can think about offhand. But it's like, how can they place on us that the benefit that they got from it was good? Like, we don't know if it was good or bad, or if it had a personal benefit altogether, because we don't know in any way or any form that it did have a personal benefit, because we have no clue if the benefits were good or bad. Now, we can see various movies and stuff like that and various documentaries that show us that, yeah, well, this is what happened, and, there was all kinds of stuff going on in these little black towns and stuff like that. It's like, okay, cool. But do we have solid, cemented proof that these people who settled in these towns had a significant personal benefit from what they learned, or what their ancestors learned, father or mother or grandparent, if they put their skills to the test to then pass down to generation of, I learned your great grandfather was a slave. He learned how to be a carpenter when he was a slave. So that means that we're going to keep going with this carpentry because this is what our grandfather knew, or this is what my father knew, and I'm passing it down to you, son, of you knowing carpentry. Is that what they're going to be teaching? Is it going to be like that? Is the teaching going to be like that? Because if so, there are some benefits to that, but in a way, it's like, well, we can't sit here and speculate that is the truth, because I was just spitballing just now, and we still don't know if that is the exact thing that will be taught, or if that was the exact thing of which happened, because neither me or you or Aunt Jemima or Uncle Ben there was alive back then. Well, I'm pretty sure Uncle Ben's great grandfather probably was a slave, because we don't know how old he is. But
it's all speculative, and it sounds speculative
in the wording of the document of which the curriculum is going to be taught. Now, what are the history books going to look like? What are they going to have in these history books that show that there was a personal benefit? Like, how are these middle school students going to be learning the curriculum? Like, in what way is or are the students going to be learning this? Because I would like to know exactly what the hell is said in those classrooms when I don't know if there are any. You know, I don't even know how many towns are in Florida, but we got to look at these little small towns. Like, the hell with the cities. We got to look at these little small towns of how this curriculum is going to be is going to be taught. Because most of the time, these little small towns in America, they're usually Republican conservative. I'm not saying that there's a problem with that, but most of the time, it's Republican conservative. But we can only speculate. But let's get back into the article. So, it's an accurate and a scary standard for us to establish in our educational curriculum, warned State Representative Anna S. Escamani, Democrat of Orlando. The Orlando Weekly reported. Genesis Robinson, political director of the advocacy group Equal Ground, argued the new curriculum only skims the surface of systematic racism. When you couple these standards with the environment, the hostility towards daring to talk about certain subjects, it creates an environment where there's going to be a complete removal of these conversations in the classroom, Robinson argued. The Tallahassee Democrat reported. Now, let's take that in consideration of what she said, because this whole curriculum got created because Ron DeSantis didn't want CRT in the classroom. He felt as though that CRT is basically a cancer to students. They shouldn't be learning or himself and other, I guess, white parents didn't want their kids learning that white people are bad and black people are good, which that's not CRT whatsoever. But basically, Ron didn't want CRT in any of the Florida schools because, in his omission, he feels as though that it states that white people bad, black people good, white people are evil, and black people are angels. That's basically what he feels as though that CRT was teaching the students or was going to teach the students. And I would say if you look at a CRT, if you look at like a CRT like curriculum, what the hell was it called when I was in school? I can't remember the exact word that I'm looking for, but like when I was in school, when teachers would go over the curriculum of what we'll be learning for the the time that I will be in that classroom, you know, they usually give like a brief overview, like your first day of what's going to be learned, and then you start getting into it as the weeks progress. And then it's like most importantly, CRT, in a way, like some people will say that CRT teaches revisionist history, and some people will say that CRT actually teaches true history because it doesn't frame the it doesn't frame the history in just one way. It frames the history in a way that it covers all bases in a way. Like it's like, okay, well, Columbus discovered America, of which CRT, I'm not saying that this is what CRT is teaching, but it would probably say that, well, it wasn't an actual guy named Christopher Columbus, but it was another guy actually that discovered America. And that name escapes me right now. But I don't know what to say to this because it's very ignorant of how they it's very ignorant how they worded some of the stuff in the document because, like I said, I haven't did a full deep dive with it. I just skipped over it a little bit, and from what I saw in there, it just looks like revisionist history, like the entire document. So I don't know. Maybe, I guess black folks deserve it, I guess, in Florida to learn false black history, and American history should be taught exactly how the framer frames it, I guess. But, the victor will tell the tale, I guess. But let's get back into the article. Critics also complain the curriculum framed violence against black communities as mutual, two-sided fights rather than racist attacks. The news outlet reported, noting a high school lesson on the 1920, I don't know how to say this, the Okui massacre. I guess is how you would say that. OCE. I'm sorry. OCOEE. What is this word? Ocoee, I guess. The Ocoee massacre calls for teachers to discuss violence perpetuated against and by African Americans, of which that's not true. It suggests that the Ocoee massacre was sparked by violence from African Americans. That's blaming the victim, said State Senator Geraldine Thompson. Opponents also condemned outdated language, the term slaves rather than enslaved people. The omission of Florida's role in the evolution of civil rights and the state's succession from the federal union in the Civil War. This is what we're saying when we say that the standards are so porous because they're incomplete, Robinson said. According to the Tallahassee Democrat, board member Ben Gibson got a scatching letter from 11 organizations, including the NAACP and the Florida Education Association, accusing the state of manipulating key historical facts about the black experience. Exactly. They are making, basically, like I've been saying, it's revisionist history. They're making it as if black people put it on themselves by, I don't know, by being enslaved. Like, what sense does that make? Like, that makes entirely no sense whatsoever. It's like, so you're going to blame the slave for being enslaved? Makes entirely no sense. Like, they didn't ask them to be here. Like, they were taken. Like, then when they couldn't take any more, they had to breed. Of which, that's where my state comes in, Maryland. Maryland was a big breeding, well, in lower Maryland, had a big breeding farm. So it's like, what are you saying right now? People, please like this video, subscribe if you are new here, and share this video if you can. Also, if you're just stepping in here, we are talking about the Ron DeSantis explaining the new Black History curriculum in Florida. If you want to come up and talk later on about any of the topics that I present tonight, you can by hitting the link or by calling the call-in number that is presented also in the live chat. That is, everything's pinned in the live chat of the way you can come and talk to. Also, there are rules. Rule number 1, you must be on camera at all times. Number 2, if you don't want to be on camera to the public, that is fine. You still have to be on camera back here in the backstage, as says rule number one. And please mute all background noise once you come back here, all right? Or call. So, like I was saying, man, it's like they're placing fault on the victim. How can you do that in any way? Like, that's like us as the American people blaming ourselves for what Carlee Russell did. It's our fault why Carlee Russell decided it would be okay to fake and stage a kidnapping. How's it our fault that Carlee decided that she wanted to either go to Nashville, if she made it, go somewhere and get dicked down by some dude that she wanted to make her boyfriend jealous about? Like, that makes entirely no sense. Like, how's it that we're at fault for what Carlee did? We have nothing to do with why Carlee ran away from home for 49 hours. That's not our fault. But it happened. But we can't blame ourselves for that. It's all on Carlee. All right. So, we owe the next generation of scholars the opportunity to know the full, unvarnished history of this state and country, and all who contributed to it, good and bad, the letter stated. Curriculum supporters countered that the new curriculum met all requirements laid out by state law in 1994. Everything is there, and said board member Mary Lynn Magger, the Tallahassee Democrat, reported. The darkest parts of our history are addressed, and I'm very proud of the task force, Magger said. I can confidently say that the DOE and the task force believe that African American history is American history. Okay, let's stop there, but I will continue that. I will continue my thought to that. And that's represented in those standards. But if African American history is American history, which it is, why do you feel as though that you need to revise it? Just tell it like it is. Just tell it exactly how it is. You don't need to falter on any point or anything. Just tell it exactly the way it is. You don't have to say, well, they they benefited from the skills that they learned. Or how about you say, the skills of which they learned was possibly detrimental to their well-being, but once uh, set free, they could then provide for their family and create businesses of their own, from which the skill that they learned. Now, that would be better wording, but you choose to say that they benefited from the skills of which they learned. So I would say this. Let's say a black woman that was a wet nurse. What skill did she learn other than breastfeeding and her master's children from her own breast? So you saying that woman can then go and get work after that by asking white women that, you have experience in watching children and you're also a wet nurse or doula or whatever. Like, nah, man. Or let's look at the black people who were basically the house niggas. What can they say? Oh, well, I have experience in being a butler. I can be your butler. Like, what are you saying? Like, all of those skills, yes, have some sort of benefit to them, but at the same time, it's like most of those jobs are fucking degrading. So you rather say that, being a butler, being a wet nurse, being what? Doing back-breaking work day in and day out, such as picking cotton, cutting down sugar cane, using the cotton gin. What? You think of it, of what in whatever that they did. How is it that most of it was beneficial for them? Because they had no choice before their either family members who were slaves during the time of emancipation. Like, who did it benefit other than their slave master himself or herself? It didn't benefit them because, they would go to the slave quarters, get their rest for the next day, and then go right back out and do it all over again. Just like we do today. We show up at work, we come home, we go to bed, wake up, and do the shit all over again. It's not a benefit to us by us doing the work that we do. It's a benefit for the company that we work for. Although our time is exchanged for money, but at the same time, it's like it matters in a way that we get paid for our time now, but it wasn't much beneficial for slaves back then. They weren't being paid. They was getting paid in fucking food scraps. Oh, well, the hog was already slaughtered, but we do have some entrails, and we do have some other things left over from the hog that we slaughtered earlier today for tonight's dinner. So here you go. Here are the scraps. We have a trough of entrails. We have some scrapped ribs. You can probably make a stew out of, and this is what it is. And it's like, well, it's not as if their health is being benefited in any sort of way. But I could be just talking nonsense right now. But at the same time, it's like, it just seems as though that Florida, ever since Ron DeSantis took over, like, yeah, he hit us over the top of the head with him freeing 4 black men that was accused of raping somebody back in 1942. But it's like, okay, that was good, but now, what now? I don't know. Let's keep going now. Let's see. Education Commissioner Manny Diaz Jr. also pushed back at the critics. As age appropriate, we go into some of the tougher subjects, all the way into the beginning of the slave trade, Jim Crow laws, and civil rights movement. Is that all we are to y'all? Slaves, slaves, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and civil rights. Are we just that to y'all? Like, we can't learn who black people were before becoming slaves in school? Because black people, believe it or not, you don't have to. You know, we did create civilization. Always remember, what was it, 7-11 to 14-11. Always remember that. Anyway, and everything that occurred throughout our history, he said, according to the Orlando Weekly. The Florida curriculum controversy is the latest in the wake of Governor Ron DeSantis' Stop Woke Act in 2022. So that basically was when the whole CRT thing came about for him, and something else. It was another nugget of something of why he created that act, but I forgot. Let's keep going. Which regulates the content of instruction and trading in schools and workplaces. Earlier this year, the Florida Department of Education also tossed the College Board AP African American Studies class, asserting that topics like Black Lives Matter and reparations violated state laws. What? How can... Well, I can understand Black Lives Matter, but how is reparations a violation to Florida state law? Reparations is basically a payment of some sort. I'm not putting an exact concrete thing on reparations. Reparations is a payment of some sort that allows the ancestor of an enslaved person the opportunity to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. That's what Ron DeSantis would say. You just pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, reparations would help us do that in some sort of fashion. Not sure which way, but some sort of way would help. Anyway, how the fuck is that? How the fuck is that a violation of state law, man? Get the fuck out of here. Public schools Chancellor Paul Burns pointed out it's the first year Florida created separate standards for African American history. the Tallahassee Democrat reported. The 13 members of the group that drew up the standards were selected by an 11-person task force, 6 of whom were appointed by Diaz. At the start of the public commentary, task force chair Glinton Glazane Jr. reiterated DeSantis' stance, declaring, "Black history is American history, and we've heard the repeated time and time this morning. Let's be clear, Florida already requires the teaching of African American history, but the new standards align these requirements and will hold teachers accountable to ensure that complete and accurate African American history continues to be taught," Gilzane said. But he's missing one thing. Y'all know what he's missing? This is what he's missing. You're basically putting on Black history that whatever happened to him was actually a benefit. Also, to point out the one point in this article where it stated that it was between, I guess, a fight that happened between black and white people in Florida, which probably Rosewood, Florida, was part the African Americans' fault. How, Sway? Like how? Tell me how. So, if you guys don't know the massacre of Rosewood, Florida, basically, well, in the movie it states that a white woman lied that a black man raped her or raped her, and that's what sparked a white town that was basically right next door, probably like, I think it was like 5 miles apart, that allowed white men to come into a black town and slaughter damn near every single black person that was in that town other than the ones that escaped. It's like, what? So basically the revisionist history of that would be that black man really did do it. The white woman never lied, and the black community of that town put it on themselves. That's basically what would be the revisionist history of that entire ordeal. And it's not true. It's not true at all. And it's unfair that we have to sit here and argue shit like this because of, I might as well just say it, because of racist white motherfuckers. Well, no, that's too vague. Because of Ron DeSantis and his cohorts who don't understand history, along with Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben over there who wrote this shit. Like, wake up. Wake up and smell the fucking deterioration of Florida's history curriculum. Like, it's going to be no good within the next year, because once kids start coming home with that homework, showing their parents, the ones who actually give a damn, showing their parents the information that they're getting at school when it comes to African American history, those parents are going to be pissed. Those parents are going to be pissed. And they're going to basically start complaining. And for those parents that do that, I hope y'all cause hell. This is the way. Because in any way, shape, or form, no kid, white, black, Cuban. I'm trying to figure out, what demographic could be down there. White, black, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Iranian, any sort of Middle Eastern, Indian, Indo-Asian, Asian. No kid of any sort should be learning revisionist African history. Now, with that being said, Ron DeSantis did that. He could, go and, go to these cocktail parties, these shindigs that he goes to around the country because he is running for president. He could, school board employees or whatever the fuck it would be called could be attending these meetups, and he could, they could ask him, Ron, can you please tell us about the whole Florida Black History curriculum thing that you're getting so much hate over? Can you tell us exactly what's in that document? And let's say he pulls the document out and he has a nice little reading party with them for a time being. And let's say that, I don't know, he was just in Iowa. So let's say Iowa gets the idea of maybe we should revise our Black history curriculum. And let's say when he goes to California, those people also think of, well, maybe we should revise our Black history curriculum. And then whoever is interested around the country who are on school boards who basically rewrite curriculums of any sort, they could basically be like, we should take the lead, or we should take Florida's lead with how they're conducting their history curriculum, of which, I don't know if anybody knows this, but there is no standard here in America of how history is taught. It's all placed on each state's requirements of what they can be taught. So by state law of Florida, it is well within their right to do what they did. But it's also detrimental to the student. So we have a conundrum here. And I feel as though that it's unfair. I feel as though that he shouldn't do this at all. And it should be looked over, of which I did read that it will be looked back over, and they could possibly go through another revision of the document. So if that happens, if I pay close attention to the topic, I'll come back with that information to see what they did with it. But with that being said, that concludes the main topic of the night. I now have two random topics I would like to bring up in the random topics portion of the week. And the overview is rapper Sukihana wants to talk with Dr. Umar Johnson, and Jess Hilarious speaks up for black women after trans video. All right, I didn't go over the overview on the Ron DeSantis thing, so I don't know why I didn't, but anyway. So rapper Sukihana, real name Destiny Henderson. I remember when she lived in Wilmington, Delaware. She basically wants to have a sit down with Dr. Umar, of which Dr. Umar is in Miami, Florida, as we speak, doing a lecture. Let's hope that Sukihana didn't touch Dr. Umar's soul from his asshole, because she does like to lick ass. But anyway, we're gonna get into a video that kind of sort of explains what I'm about to go over, and let's get at it.
You know, in your song, right? You said you want to fuck Dr. Umar, right?
Yeah.
So how would you shoot your shot with Dr. Umar?
But I love a Pan-African king. You know,
King Kong.
King Kong consciousness. I'm very pro-black, so I care about my people. And I feel like if I was to pick somebody to fuck on, it would be Dr. Umar. And that's what I said in Grinch. Want to fuck Dr. Umar, leave him woke right now, because I do got that woke pussy.
We must handle the business before the back shots.
If I was to meet Dr. Umar, he would shoot his shot with me, because he gonna see me black chocolate conscious queen that need a little guidance and daddy issues, and I feel like he know exactly what to do with me.
She fine too. Lord have mercy. Might have triplets.
This guy. Anyway, I'll leave this up because that goes into Dr. Umar. So, Sukihana is among the most viral and outspoken rappers today, whether on important issues and heavy personal experience of just playing around on social media. Moreover, on Wednesday, July 19th, she took to Twitter to reveal which celebrity she think could turn her into a wife. I don't know who the fuck that is, but anyway, she says, I think I'm ready to sit with Dr. Umar. I've seen those interviews where he spoke on me, and I think he might be the one to turn me into a wife. That's a goddamn lie. Anyway, it's the public speaker activist and school psychologist, Dr. Umar Johnson. So Dr. Umar, y'all know who Dr. Umar, y'all make fun of him all the time. So Dr. Umar Johnson, who responded to her message, and this is what Dr. Umar said. Dr. Umar said, he'll be in Miami Gardens in Florida Saturday, July 29th. So that's tomorrow. Sorry, I said. Well, he probably got down there today, but you know his lecture is tomorrow at 12, from 12 to 6. He gives the address of the place, and I believe that will be his phone number that he gave. And he said, and then you know he has another date that it'll be yet on Sunday. So Dr. Umar basically writes in his Twitter post that the Prince of Pan-Africanism is requesting a confidential meeting with Sister Suki next Friday or Saturday, July 28th or 29th, ahead of his Miami Gardens lecture at an undisclosed public location in South Florida to discuss her interest in collaborating on a public campaign and program to combat the sexual exploitation and abuse of black girls and women. Right? So, as Dr. Umar said, a undisclosed public location, because he's not going anywhere in a private setting, because Sukihana like to deep throat and throw up on dicks, but you know that's besides the fact. But Dr. Umar also had a message when asked about Sukihana. This is what he said.
I do want to ask you one question. I seen that you posted a female rapper by the name of Sukihana. Right? What would you say to our good sister about that?
Sister Sukihana. I never heard of the queen before a supporter of mine sent me the video, you know, where she said, I'm not going to use her words, but where she said, if I wanted to spend some private time with a man, it'll be Dr. Umar. And then at the end of the video, she says, if Dr. Umar met me, he would shoot his shot because he'd see that I'm a beautiful black African conscious queen. I could use some guidance. I got a little bit of daddy issues. She was very humble. I would be open to meeting with her to see where her head is, because first, it's always politics before Punani for me. So what can we do together to build the community? Now, obviously, her content isn't something I could endorse, but it seemed to me that if she's is willing to follow my lead, that she might be ready to make a transition from the raunchiness to the righteousness. And so maybe she'll take all her followers and bring them into a more conscious lifestyle. That would be a conversation we would need to have, though. But if she decided to turn the corner and leave that content alone for something that is more conscious and more positive for our daughters and sons, I would work with her.
All right. So we heard it first from Dr. Umar himself that if she decided to turn the corner, leave the content that she does, where she says in raps that she was in special ed, and she's in videos talking about all she needs is Henny and a Plan B, and what else? What's another lyric she's had? Did she say she was retarded? What the fuck is happening, man? What the fuck?
What the fuck was that?
Man. Anyway, let's continue. Of course, this isn't the first time the rapper shot her shot with the Philly native, but this is certainly the hardest shot she's taken so far. Furthermore, Dr. Umar turned this opportunity into an advocacy campaign. So we'll see how that turns out. As Dr. Umar did say in that post, an undisclosed public location. All right. Let's see how. I think I'm ready to sit with Dr. Umar, Sukihana wrote. So in September of last year, she kept things thirsty rather than commitment focused. When talking about the speaker, I want to fuck Dr. Umar and leave him woke right now. She tweeted. Okay, wait a minute. Anyway,
bruh.
I think I'm ready to sit with Dr. Umar. I said that already. Where am I at? Regardless, Dr. Umar's response to Sukihana's most recent admission of longing was in infographic form because it had to be. The Prince of Pan-Africanism, basically what he said, he'll be where he's at in Miami, and he expressed on social media. So he continued at an undisclosed public location in South Florida to discuss her interest in collaborating on the campaign. Right? So that's a heck of a first date idea, Johnson. So where do I stand with Sister Suki? He said of a line that Suki directed at him, similar to that tweet on the song Grinch. As you know, with me, it's all about politics before Punani. It's always revolution over romance. It's always institution building before intimacy. Liberation over lust. Business before bedroom. Me and Sister Sukihana, or Destiny Henderson, could have a conversation. Now, look. I remember Sukihana's humble beginnings. I used to follow her on, I believe it was Facebook, when she was Destiny Henderson from Wilmington, Delaware, when she used to sell, what she used to sell, like, I think she sold, like, custom containers of shea butter and other stuff, or whatever. Because I also, when I was in my early 20s, I started getting conscious and stuff like that. So, started doing conscious nigga shit, wearing shea butter, which I still do, wearing shea butter, getting oils and stuff like that. So she used to sell shea butters and oils. So I was like, okay, if my first connect for that stuff is not open, because, I used to go to a bookstore and get my stuff in Claymont, Delaware, which isn't too far from Wilmington. It's the next town over. Well, sort of. It's like a couple towns over. But it's like I saw that she used to sell that stuff back in the early 2010s. So I placed my order in. I never got anything, but I placed my order and I said, hey, I'd like to get some, some shea butter and shit. And I never got it because, she never got back to me. But, Destiny, I don't even know if she probably still has the same social media accounts. But this is way before she was Sukihana, which Sukihana, the name that she got Sukihana from was from a popular Asian takeout spot that's in the Christiana Mall here in Newark, Delaware. So yeah, it's an Asian food spot where she got the name from, Sukihana, because Sukihana got the bomb as honey grilled chicken, and if you put some of that honey grilled chicken juice on your rice, Jesus Christ.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? This is a certified hood classic.
Yes, it is a certified hood classic. Because as soon as you bite into that shit, you will say,
damn, son, where'd you find this?
Because that shit is banging. But anyway, moving on to what I would say is the biggest topic tonight. Close to the Ron DeSantis stuff, because that was pretty important as well. But damn, I got the no, I didn't. So this is probably the biggest topic tonight. What I will be covering now. So I'm done with the Sukihana stuff. So if you guys don't know, last Friday, something happened with comedian Jess Hilarious, and she basically made a video towards a trans woman about basically being a woman. All right. So this is exactly what's going on with that. Here we go.
This is what I mean when the transphobia just comes out, the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't. Okay, you don't own periods. You don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Like,
all right. So I got this article from the Jasmine brand. So as this whole ordeal has been happening, a trans woman, famous one by the name of T.S. Madison, has basically came at Jess Hilarious's neck. And this is the title to this article. Jess Hilarious and T.S. Madison have heated exchange after the comedian's reaction. So Jess Hilarious reacted to the video I just played, right? And I will be showing her reaction pretty soon. So, Jess Hilarious received mixed reactions to recent comments she made about the trans woman community. While reacting to a video of what seems to be a transgender woman discussing cis or naturally born women not having ownership over menstruation and womanhood, the internet personality sparked a huge online debate and prompted a response from trans activist T.S. Madison. All the drama began following Jess Hilarious born Jessica Moore, which Jess Hilarious, she fine, she got body. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Blasting the trans woman for what seems to be a rant against naturally born females. In the video, the individual argued that cis women are often transphobic due to the audacity and the arrogance they have, believing they can gatekeep periods and menstruation. In response, Jess Hilarious slams the trans woman in the video for projecting their anger on real women, stating, and this is what she had to say. I'll just show it in just a minute.
Hello. Who the fuck is gonna stand up for us? Who the fuck stands up for us? And us, I mean women, real women, biological women, women who were born with all the parts that you guys wish that you were. When does the delusion stop? What is the difference between you and someone who has been diagnosed to be mentally insane? What's the only difference is you don't have a straitjacket on. Stop talking out your fucking ass. Wake up. How are you projecting your anger on real women? Because we are the gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers for periods. We the only one that fucking bleed, honey. We the only ones that can give birth. We make y'all people. We make y'all. Y'all come from us. You can't be us. You will never. You're chasing something you'll never, ever get. You'll never be that. Like, hello.
So, some seem to strongly agree with Jess's point. With Jess pointing out that there seemed to be growing tension between trans and real women due to their desire to discredit the truth about what a woman is, while others felt the Wild 'N Out star response was ignorant, stating that Jess didn't take the time to understand fully the trans woman's point and accusing her of only responding to clickbait. So there's Jess Hilarious' finance. So Amanda Seales basically stated that both y'all missed it. I don't know what the fuck Amanda Seales is talking about, but Amanda Seales is off as well. One commenter who agreed with Jess's point wrote, being well raised is about respecting people in every room you walk into. They were there before you walked in. Don't be arrogant. Be respectful. Give women the due respect they deserve for birthing nations, and we women will in turn support your journey. It doesn't have to be a competition. It could never be. And I agree with that for the simple fact, and I don't like the fact that she put a rainbow at the end of her damn message, but I agree with her notion because for the simple fact that these trans people are getting fucking out of hand. And this is why. This is why I believe that, because you're gonna sit there, and I'm gonna use Jess Hilarious' words to a T. How are you gonna sit there in delusion thinking that you can out-argue a woman when it comes to womanhood? And I mean a naturally born woman, not some lab rat. I guess. I don't know. I don't know, but how the fuck are you gonna sit there and basically lie? It's a full-on lie when a trans woman is sitting there saying that you don't own menstruation because you're a cisgendered woman, which y'all need to quit calling women that because they don't like that shit. So my whole thing is, where the hell is the feminists in this? Where are your arguments at? Because this is very well a fight that y'all should be fighting. Here's why. Because for a transgender woman to argue down a real woman by trying to state that she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, which would be a bullshit statement because a naturally born woman knows exactly what she's talking about. She had to go through the process of growing breasts,
Bruh.
of getting her period,
Bruh.
of dealing with the hormonal changes in her body when she gets pregnant. When, you know, hell, dealing with the emotions and feelings she has to deal with when it comes to her menstruating period, of which I had to find this out the hard way when I lived with one of my girlfriends. A week before they get their period, they get real nasty. Like they get not nasty as in like you know, the general sense of nasty. I mean nasty in the sense of they get very combative, they get very angry, and they get very short-tempered. And then when they get their period, it's like that times 1,000. I had to learn that the hard way. Now, I would never do this, so I'm not putting myself in this situation. But let's say a guy started dating a trans woman. He won't have to go through that process of them, you know, getting a little away from themselves a week before, and then it being a full-on 7-alarm blaze the week of them having their period. And you know, some of them might have 3 days, some of them might have it for 5, some have it for a full week, some of them have it for a full week and a half. So by trans men to freeze tomato sauce in whatever the hell they're freezing it in, and then sticking it in themselves so they can then so and so called spot
Bruh.
in their little panties. Like, you're not menstruating, stupid. That is tomato sauce, and you're gonna get an infection in that cloaca of yours if you got the surgery.
Bruh.
This is retarded. Like, it really is. So, one critic added this, and let me bring it on screen. Jess Hilarious has always been a transphobic and anti-gay. She uses our vernacular and vocabulary and swag, and hates the very bane of our existence. The part that's annoying with Jess Hilarious is your approach to the subject is filled with your own internalized hate for the trans community as a whole. Now, I believe that's women in a whole who don't subscribe to y'all's bullshit. Like, if you talk to a woman that doesn't subscribe to this whole trans bullshit, you would then hear them say, I don't like being called cisgender. I don't like that you guys try to tell me as a woman what womanhood is and how to feel when it comes to menstruation and shit like that. Women who don't prescribe to that bullshit, they're tired of y'all. It's not that they dislike y'all, they're tired of y'all. Now, I'll continue. If you took the time to be this new journalist that you are attempting to be, which is a shot on the Breakfast Club, then you would have known she was talking about trans men, but your rebuttal was speaking on the trans community as a whole. I don't think that this dumbass really thinks well. A trans man is a woman. So a trans man will menstruate because it's still a woman. What the fuck are you talking about? Now he's trying to bring men into the fray. Like, nah, we ain't got nothing to do with this. Men do not menstruate whatsoever. So, from a man talking to a trans woman, you do not menstruate, dumbass. You can't. It's impossible. Try squeezing blood out your dick, and I'll let you know. You gotta go to the hospital because something wrong with you. Now, but saying they belong in a straitjacket and that trans women are equal to someone who is mentally ill, wow, this is a new low even for you. But in your video, which was used for clickbait because you want some relevance, your true colors and feelings come out, and it shows how negative and transphobic you really are deep down inside. But thank you for showing us. I'd rather know who a person really is than to be masked behind humor and BS. I know T.S. Madison is going to clear you into the morning. This is what I have to say about that. How's it that she showed her true colors? She was basically combating the notion that a trans woman could menstruate. Like I just said earlier, it's impossible. You can't do it. If you squeeze blood out your dick, if you still got it, you have health issues, my friend. You don't have a menstrual cycle. You have a health issue. Go to the emergency room right now. Like, it's impossible by nature that you can't menstruate. Even if you get the surgery, the gender affirming surgery, you still can't menstruate. It's impossible. Even if you get the artificial womb put inside you, it's still impossible for you to menstruate. As I said, if you squeeze blood out your dick in any sort of way, shape, or form, fashion, you are not menstruating. You have a health issue. So, it's a bunch of bullshit at the end of the day. Whatever your name is, Jason Bowman. Like, it's clearly impossible. Anyway, but by you saying that, by you saying that she's equating trans women to mentally ill patients being in a straitjacket, you tell me where she lied. Because it's y'all who are making the argument that trans women can menstruate. But you can't do it without help. You need frozen tomato sauce or tomato paste, either or whatever. And then you stick it inside yourself, you let it melt, and then it spots in your drawers. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm having I'm having a menstrual cycle. Oh my gosh. Let me get my pads. No. No. That is tomato paste. And if you keep doing it, you're going to end up with mold. You're going to end up with mold in your cloaca, because it ain't a pussy, it's a cloaca. You're going to end up with mold, and you're going to end up fucking yourself up. Anyway. Others continue to join in sharing their thoughts on the discussion as well. So, it's one of them in here that I believe got switched around, but I'll just read them. So, the real Alec. Hold on, let me just go to where it's at. So, fuck it, I'll just read it as is. So, Just Darius, one of one says, "Let us all take a moment and give Jess a round of applause. This needs to be said a long time ago, and real women shouldn't be harassed and bullied for being who they were born to be." Someone else states, which is not on my paper, I believe. Yes, not on my paper. Johnny's I Billy says, "Tell me you don't know. Tell me." Hold on. He says, "Tell me you don't know actual trans women without telling me. Y'all love to take one video and ride on your transphobia mask as morality. Tired. Man, shut your bitch ass up. Anyway. Next. So, what's this person's name? Well, whatever this person's name is, it's the top comment in the picture. "It doesn't seem to me trans women are the ones who are angry. Your rage and your deliberate cruelty, your ignorance of both gender ideology and social construct is mind-boggling. No, y'all's bullshit is mind-boggling. Like, it's disgusting nonetheless. Like, how can you sit here and try to say that this woman is angry? She's not angry at trans women. She's angry at the possibility that trans women are trying to take over natural womanhood, which would basically be the patriarchy if you think about it, because a trans woman used to be a man, and now it's a man masquerading as a woman, which would mean that they're trying to inject patriarchy into womanhood. But isn't that what the feminists are fighting against? Like, it doesn't make any sense here. Anyway, another commenter, who's next? Raquel Willis says, "There's a lot of anger, fear, ignorance, and insecurity going on here. Just there are trans people who experience menstruation. They're trans men, which are women. Naturally, they're women. They're not men, they're women. Anyway, trans men, trans masculine folks, non-binary folks, and even people assigned male at birth who are intersex come to mind. That would be a hermaphrodite. So it's a possibility, yes, a hermaphrodite can menstruate because a hermaphrodite would have both sex organs. So I'll throw him some bell there, and I'll throw him some bell when it comes to trans men, but I'm not throwing them any when it comes to trans women. That's just retarded. Nor does that make your point valid. It actually makes your point very moot, to be honest, because if you think about it, you're bringing up hermaphrodites, non-binary folks, and trans men, which presumably will be women, correct? You see how y'all's argument tends to fall apart when people start talking about it? But anyway, who's next? So, Little Miss Monroe says, "Thank you, Jess. This is getting so motherfucking weird. Mental health issues and definitely delusional as fuck. We are the gatekeepers. They mama pushed him or her out. Her cat, and I wonder what the mom there thinks about this, because she definitely came from a woman." So I am King Sis says, "It's funny how trans men never cause this much chaos for men. Trans women still be having that male takeover spirit." Goddamn right about that. Okay, who's next? Evidently Me says, "Just thank you for having the courage to speak up for biological women." And Mona Reach says, "This is the same ninja that said, what are cis women going to do when trans women can get uterus transplants? This person is mentally unstable." And I agree. I fucking agree. So, as one user predicted, reality star T.S. Madison, also known as Maddie, 45 years old, surely entered the conversation, seemingly reacting to Jess's comments about the real women the LGBT activist tweeted. This is what she tweeted. There are so many real women that get mistaken for being transgender. Women for being hold on, let me over. There are so many real women that get mistaken for being transgender women, and that's where a lot of the anger comes from. I do hope they take a good look at how transphobia affects all women. No, transphobia affects trans people. Because, as I said, if you go and talk to women who don't believe the bullshit that y'all believe, y'all would then see that y'all are fooling yourselves by thinking that these real women think the same way that you guys do. It's fucking impossible. It's fucking impossible. Anyway, in response, the comic star posted a picture of Maddie to her Instagram story with the caption, "You the last one that needs to be fucking playing with me. Keep that phony shit over there." And she also states, "I swear niggas in any form switch up like a motherfucker." Go ahead, Jess. The comment triggered a few final thoughts from Maddie, who then reposted a video of Jess previously admitting to being mistaken as a trans woman with the caption, I don't know if I have that. I don't have that, but so she states, "Let me make one thing clear. I have stood up and fought tooth and nail for black women. I have put a lot of black women on use my platform to uplift black women, as well as let it be known that I am not a female, but I am a black trans woman. I'm addressing this as such. Let me put a @ on it. Jess Hilarious. I have never disrespected you nor came at you publicly when you said sideways shit I didn't like. I inboxed you. Your mouth don't put no fear in my heart, because you not the only bitch that can put a read on the floor." I don't know what a read is, but anyway. So if it's up then it's up. But as a grown individual, I don't want to go to the route calls that not gonna solve none. But we can. I'm all day with it. Basically, she's threatened just. Basically, he's threatening Jess Hilarious with violence. That's basically what's that statement. Now I posted what I said because of what came out of your mouth, of your own experience. Sorry, every time trans women and real women unite on some good shit, nor the blogs ever post or talking about it. The moment one individual offends you, y'all automatically group us all in the mixes. Cause all y'all motherfuckers all think the same. That's why. But let's keep going. I clearly know that only females have periods and uteruses and have never stood on the side of the majority. But what you're not going to do is make it seem like you going to press down on me and call me phony. Let me point out one thing. T.S. Madison says in the beginning, let me make one thing clear. I have stood up and fought tooth and nail for black women, which she's basically stating is that when her black girlfriends would get beat up by their boyfriend, she would then go over to their house and beat up the boyfriend for her. Because, T.S. Madison's a man. So, with that being said, it's like, I want to say one thing. To any of the fellas who got their ass whooped by T.S. Madison, I guess you deserve it for the simple fact that you let a trans nigga whoop your ass. Well, matter of fact, T.S. Madison probably was just a very effeminate gay motherfucker back then. So if you let a gay nigga whoop your ass, nigga, you need to kill yourself. And now this motherfucker is parading himself as a woman now. It's fucking crazy. Anyway, the conversation carried over into Maddie's comments, with some praising the T.S. Madison Experience star for speaking out against Jess's remarks, while others continued to defend the comic actress, sharing their belief that Maddie's involvement wasn't necessary due to the truthfulness of what Jess said, which is true. It doesn't seem that Jess has further reacted to the discussion now. But since the fallout, comedian Flame Monroe has entered the fray with a beef of all his own with another transgender woman that tried to explain away Jess's point when it comes to womanhood and menstruation. And also, Lucky, Pop by Cherry, I guess that's her Twitter name, says, y'all ever notice how transgender men do not try to erase or take over the biological male identity, yet a good amount of transgender women are like on a mission to erase the identity of biological women, which is true. I feel like it comes from men's innate need to conquer things, which is a good point. Which is a very good point. So, basically, with all of this, I believe this. When it comes to these trans men trying to take over trans women's spaces, basically, like they're doing women a disservice, because women deserve to be in those said spaces. Women deserve to have their words heard when it comes to trans women trying to take over their spaces. Because for a trans woman to think that it's okay for them to be like, well, yeah, you know, I'm a real woman, blah 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 blah. And it's like, no, you not. Just stop the cap. Stop the cap. It's like you aren't in any shape or form or fashion, in any way, a woman, and you have to gotta take it as is. Like, why are you sitting there fighting with these women and what they're saying, and you're basically doing what you don't want them to do? You're basically telling them to shrivel. Basically, you basically tell them, I deserve to be in these spaces because of this and that, blah 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 blah, and whatever. That's what you're basically stating to these naturally born women. So if you deserve that, right? You deserve that. Why are you having these? Why are you having these discussions out loud at that when it comes to women? Period. Like, why are you having these discussions? Like, you should be having those discussions amongst yourself. You shouldn't be having those discussions in public where people publicly can state their case when it comes to it. You basically subject yourself to subjugation. And you don't want it. And you don't try to shield yourself from this to where you won't have these arguments. But you tend to keep having these damn arguments. And you basically make yourself look like a fool, like I made all y'all look today. But it's like, a real woman knows what a menstrual cycle feels like inside her body. Like, she knows what it does to her body. You don't experience cramps. You don't experience spotting. You don't experience the full bleed. I guess I could say it like that. Women, please forgive me for that if y'all don't like that. Y'all experience the full bleed, and then when it subsides and goes away and it doesn't come back for another month, they feel refreshed and rejuvenated. You know why? Because a menstrual cycle is basically, well, let me not get scientific on this. Let me just ask Google what the fuck a menstrual cycle is. So, a menstrual is the regular discharge of blood and what is this word?
Mucosal.
Mucosal. Yes, mucus. Mucosal tissue from I'm sorry, it's not mucus. Mucosal tissue from the inner lining of the uterus through the vagina, of which trans women don't have. The menstrual cycle is characterized by the rise and fall of hormones. Menstruation is triggered by falling progesterone. Is that what that is?
Progesterone.
All right, I said that right. Progesterone levels, and is a sign that pregnancy has not occurred. So y'all know how, and the average age for menstruation is 12. Well, it starts at 12. So for y'all, as trans women, to say you aren't the gatekeepers to menstruation. Actually, they are, because you don't have a mucosal tissue wall. You don't go through a menstrual cycle, which you don't go through the hormone changes, as what I just explained with a girlfriend of mine, of how she would be very irate and very unclear of how she really felt in the moment. Or what she probably did feel that way was just coming out in her premenstrual cycle. And you don't have that either, a premenstrual cycle. Also, your menstruation, trans men, is not triggered by the progesterone levels, and is basically a sign that you're not pregnant. So basically, a menstrual cycle is just the body getting rid of something, right? Because the egg, when the egg is fertilized, it attaches to that mucosal tissue wall, and to where the baby can be formed, and then it gets into the uterus, and then the baby is there and is doing all the thing. Thus, why the menstrual cycle stops during the pregnancy. How do I know all this? I have Google, and I lived with my mother and my 3 sisters growing up, so I had to deal with all that shit. So I would be, in a way, an expert. And I lived with a girlfriend of mine, so I would be an expert in this. So for a trans man not to understand this shit is beyond me. It's very understandable. So, everybody, what did we learn today? Well, we learned that Carlee Russell will be going to trial. She has charges. We also know that her boyfriend said adios, sayonara. Alfida is hello. No, Alfida Zane is goodbye. Alfida Zane, au revoir. You said all that to her. He is now her ex. Also, we found out that Jamie Foxx is okay, and that is good. That he's okay. Ron DeSantis, he's gonna have to figure something out when it comes to that Black History Month curriculum that is basically gonna be taught to kids that don't deserve that type of revisionist history. Also, Dr. Umar Johnson, you better protect your booty hole at all times, because that girl, Sukihana, likes to lick ass. So if you don't want your soul touched, grab your butt. I'm only fucking with you, Dr. Umar. And I stand with Jess Hilarious, because women are the gatekeepers of menstrual cycles. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. So with that being said, people, how about we get the hell on out of here, right? Let's just get on out of here. All right, y'all. So, if you guys are following my voice right now, please do yourself a favor. Subscribe to this here channel, and already done so. Go to my Rumble channel and subscribe to that, because, once we have these discussions, of which Ty left, we were supposed to have a debate, if things start getting spicy over here on YouTube, of which they can get, so with that being said, things starts getting spicy over here once I get an audience to watch me and they want to come up and talk and speak about the topics that I present, then if things start getting spicy, things start getting said that can't be said here on YouTube, I can just drop this stream and we can continue on Rumble. So make sure you download the Rumble app and you follow me over on Rumble, because I will like to start simulcasting over there. I might have to start making some content over there, so those subscribers that I need, because I only need 15 more subscribers over there to start live streaming. So do me a favor, if you haven't already subscribed to this here channel, go ahead and do so, and then do me that one solid, go over to Rumble and subscribe to me over there as well. This show comes on every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Marcus Speaks Live is the podcast you are watching now. Marcus Speaks Play, I have no idea. I might just change it to Marcus Plays instead of Marcus Speaks Play. Or Marcus Plays Games or something like that. I don't know what I'll call it, but that'll come on Saturdays. I just don't know what time. I'm thinking of doing an early show on it, like 1:30 or so. 1:30-ish to maybe. But be on the lookout for that. That is coming back pretty soon. So once the game starts coming out for these consoles, because we all either got backwards compatibility or no good games are coming out for these damn consoles. So once that happens, once I can find a game to play, I'll post it on my community tab, what I will be playing, and then it'll be business as usual. If you ever would like to come up here and speak to me, you can. I always hold that invitation for anybody to come up. Do yourself a favor. You can either hit the link that's pinned in the chat, or you can hit the number, dial the number on your phone, and come and talk to the person here on this live podcast. There are rules you have to follow. Rule number one is you must be on camera at all times. If you don't want to be on camera to the public, that is fine. If you hit the link, there's a question back here that I would like for you to answer. Once you answer that question with your name and your answer, I can further accommodate you from there. And I only ask this to be nice. You could just cut y'all out when y'all come up here. Please silence all background noise, alright? If you come up here, please silence all background noise. And if you could, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, share this. Share this video to your respective social medias. Also, with that being said, read over the scrolling ticker. That is for you. But I only got one last thing to say, and that is, please focus on getting to the money, because we all know money makes the world go round. Also, drink more water for health purposes. Also, mind your own business for mental health purposes. And if you didn't believe a damn thing I said tonight, you don't have to. Alright? Do your own research. It helps you out in the long run. I have been Marcus. This has been Marcus Speaks Live. I thank y'all for watching, and I'll check you guys out next week. Peace out.